Okay, back with Gerald Celente. You know, I was just thinking, Gerald, in life, we all meet people occasionally, not very often, not as often as we used to, whom, when you go into a room or you're in their presence or they walk up to you, you feel better. And you know why that is, folks? It's because those individuals are thoroughly grounded to goodness, and they are emanating that honest, sincere, human quality we ultimately call love and kindness. And that's the part that we're missing here. This issue of fear and fear-based culture and fear-based society, those who would seek to subjugate, control, and subvert all of us use it all the time. It's so thick in this society now you can cut it with a knife. But where are those people, Gerald, that used to truly inspire by just being around them? I mean, they were amazing. I could count on one hand the number of people like that. But they're out there, and we need them. But they're, in many cases, too smart to go into politics or the public life that they could really make a difference, because they know if they try and they get in the way, they'll be removed. That's where we are today. The politics in this country are controlled by bribery, blackmail, threats, and death if necessary, in too many cases. That's no news to you. But we have fallen so far, and I'm wondering if we are able as a culture and a society to actually pull ourselves back up to where we were. Or does it have to go all the way down and out the other side, and then we have to rebuild it?
There's really nothing new about this. Go back to the 50s, of course. You had the McCarthy era, when people like you and I would have been called communists for questioning the corruption of the government. And it goes through. You go through the Vietnam era, and you had an arrogant man who's better off dead because of the disease of his sickness that he spread throughout the world.
How many tens of millions of lives did he destroy?
Millions of innocent Vietnamese and the nearly 60,000 American young boys whose lives were taken, and the hundreds of thousands whose lives were ruined because they sent us to a war that he knew was fake and he knew was not winnable. And he admitted it in the early days of the war.
He did. You know how many American men are in prison today who are Vietnam veterans? 90,000. 90,000. 90,000 American Vietnam veterans are actually in prisons today.
I have a pal of mine who's a quadriplegic and a Vietnam vet. And he was a guy, actually, Bobby Mercer of the Yankees was his roommate before he got drafted. And he barely scrapes out a dime. He has such a limited life. But boy, is there plenty of money for the Goldman Sachs gang. A lot for the Bear Stearns boys. How about for the Merrill Lynch mob?
Yeah.
But boy, oh boy, when are the people going to wise up? I would say one thing differently, however, in what you were talking about. And that is that to speak out and don't be afraid. If your life is threatened, then you call it a day. But if it doesn't come to that point, people better stand up and speak out and step forward, because they're getting stepped on. They're being taxed to death. Every businessman I know, every business owner, mom and pop, his and his, hers and hers, they can hardly stay afloat because the government keeps taxing them and taxing them and taxing people for their households, property taxes, school taxes, sin taxes, hassle taxes. They're taxing the people to death.
And if they're not taxing them, they're regulating them.
And then they're regulating them as they're giving their too-big-to-fail friends all our money. So Vietnam, and as I said, this goes back way back in American history. But now I believe we are at a turning point. Never before has it become so transparent how they're ripping us off. And only the people that are too afraid to face the future because it won't add up to a happy ending are the ones that are stopping this progress from moving forward. They have to admit that they're being conned, that there is no hope and optimism, the ship is sinking, and they're getting raped to pay taxes to bail out the Bear Stearns gang, the Merrill Lynch mob, the Deutsche Bank boys, the Citigroups, the Banks of America, and a list of other criminals. You know, as I mentioned to you before, Jeff, I'm of Italian descent, and I've heard enough mafia stories for the rest of my life. Don't want to hear another one until you tell me the one about the Wall Street boys. You know who they are, the White Shoe Gang. They make up these games called credit swap fault derivatives, and I'll make $150 million betting on them. Won't give anything to society, but boy, will you get shafted. Can't call them criminals. Oh, no.
Those are the guys that when they snap their fingers, Obama asks, how high?
That's right. Remember who Obama is. Look at who his wife is. Look at who the whole crew is.
His wife has 20 personal attendants and staff, by the way. 20.
These are the Princeton, Yale, Harvard gang.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They're running the Supreme Court, they're running the government, and they're running your life. And you know why? Ask them. They're better than you are. That's what they'll tell you. They're the elites.
Yeah. Their lives are worth more than yours.
Much more. Much more. Who gets to carry a $4,000 purse through Russia other than Michelle Obama?
Right. Who takes a 757 Air Force Two from Paris to London with her 2 daughters to go on a shopping spree?
2 daughters, the mother-in-law.
Yeah,
he wouldn't even meet with Putin, Obama, because he wanted to go to dinner with his wife. You're out on business, and we're paying you freight. And you act like this to act with a world leader when the world is in an imbalance like this? Yeah. You don't have time to meet with him? You have to take your wife out on a date?
It's amazing.
It's amazing.